Welcome, friends. Welcome, family. What's going on, Ma? Welcome, you guys. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday on the watch party here. We're going live. We're going to be here for about an hour. I was just talking to the chat. Glad you guys are here. The early nerds are here. As a matter of fact, you're so early. I get to start a few couple minutes early and still, have you guys on board just enough for you hanging out in time. Maybe this will trigger more people to see what is happening. By the way, yes, no, it's not Friday. It's not even the best damn day of the week. It's just Wednesday. But there was a good times last night. So I'm having a celebratory, normally a Friday energy drink. I have to go back to my roots, you guys. I haven't had Nas in like a month or two, probably 2 months, because I've been trying all this other new craziness that you guys are giving me suggestions on, or really whatever it is that I find on Fridays. And I missed the original. So we're drinking on that today. Just for a little bit of celebration from those elections that went down last night, the ass kickings that was handed out. I'm sure you guys paid a lot of attention to it. But even if you didn't, I'm here to try and catch you up on some of it. There's stuff still developing right now. Of course, we've got the elections, we've got the things that happened from it, the repercussions of it. But always what people want to talk about the day after the election night is the responses from those candidates that won, lost, pundits, people that predicted, things that they said they might happen, things that they're afraid of. And then we're going to finally get a chance to see what the results of those will now be. That's just us going forward in life. So as we now get to the top of the hour, hope you guys are starting to pile in a little bit. You folks that maybe don't get the original notification that we're jumping on at noon every day Eastern. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the guy whose name was all over the place for the past several months, who actually made it happen last night, and now everybody's talking about it, good or bad. Here's your incoming mayor of New York, Zoran Mamdani.
After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So, Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. After all,
I mean, I think you guys know that I watch wrestling sometimes. John Adarola and I talk about it a lot, but he said, I got 4 words for you. If he said, I've got 2 words for you, I would have thought he was going in a different direction. All you WWE fans, you understand. I don't have to say the rest. But there's a Zoran Mamdani, who he's won that New York mayoral election. And man, there's all kinds of responses. People are celebrating. I think there was a video, he said he showed up at some bar or club in the middle of the night afterwards, still in his suit, partying with the people. This is not one of those people that was partying with Zoran Mamdani, though.
Curtis? I'll send it to him because you yelled at me today. Good. Hey, Curtis, you're a fucking scumbag, like I said all along, all of these months. You fucking got 8% of the vote. You split the fucking vote for the $7 million. You were a scumbag. I hope every New Yorker spits in your fucking face every single day. You fucking sold out like fucking Judas sold out fucking Jesus for the 30 fucking coins of silver. Go fuck yourself.
Curtis doesn't have many fans. He split the effing vote. Man, this guy could call himself a Christian. He said effing Judas and effing Jesus. Bro, what kind of blasphemy is this? Calm down, bro. All you did was lose an election. I mean, I'm usually not the type to go to rubbing these things in, because their whole purpose of winning these elections, I always fully believe, is now what are we going to do to make things better? The results have to come in. That's what the problems have always been recently with the Democratic Party, is results never come in whenever it is that they win, and people are sick and tired of it. That's why this new wave is coming in. It's been ushered by, as I pointed out again, Zoran Mamdani, who's got guys talking about effing Jesus and effing Judas. They're so upset. But you know what? He continues to speak directly to the people about the reasons why they voted him in. Here he is a little bit longer. This got me amped up.
So, Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. We will hold bad landlords to account because the Donald Trumps of our city have grown far too comfortable taking advantage of their tenants. We will put an end to the culture of corruption that has allowed billionaires like Trump to evade taxation and exploit tax breaks. We will stand alongside unions and expand labor protections because we know, just as Donald Trump does, that when working people have ironclad rights, the bosses who seek to extort them become very small indeed. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
If you don't get amped up by that, you haven't been paying attention. Maybe you're just not interested in politics or how our lives are actually supposed to be represented by the people that we vote in. Again, this is him talking. This is in victory speech night. I'm still waiting for the results, but based off the things that he was talking about there, that people are going to hold him accountable for, because these are the types of people that voted for him, heard him say he's going to hold landlords accountable again in corruption and this whole culture of corruption with rich people avoiding their taxation and then taking more of our money. Aren't you sick of getting robbed? This is the type of things that politicians always talk about, except they're focusing on poor people, acting like they're destroying people's lives with their poorness. But the line about New York still going to have immigrants, built by immigrants, and now being led by one. Bro, whenever the basis for the people who hated him was all just because of who he is, where he's from, and his religion, that gets defeated once people understand that he's representing them. It doesn't matter what your religion is. He's representing what all these folks in New York who have been struggling, who have been exploited for their resources, for the rich people to continue to act like it's all theirs and they did so much for it. People get sick and tired of it. So as Donald Trump keeps his threats, I'm also jazzed up by the fact that he said, you have to get through all of us to get to any of us. Love it. It's the way someone who represents people, who wants some kind of representation, speaks to people instead of telling them what they don't deserve, what they don't get, how horrible they are, and how they should just be quiet. That's been the Republican message for so long, and it's been really hard to listen to it and understand why people listen to it, accept it, and then celebrate being downtrodden by rich elitist assholes. It's the weirdest thing. So it's not working. And the night of that devastating loss for them up in New York, people are still freaking out. Here's a bit of a mash.
Congratulations to Zoran Mandami and this campaign was necessary to make that point. A caution flag that we are heading down a dangerous, dangerous road.
And let me warn our new leader, if you try to implement socialism, if you try to render our police weak and impotent, if you forsake the people's public safety, we're not only organizing, but we are mobilizing
Well, you can't imagine how disappointed I am. This is a horrible blow.
I honestly feel bad. I have friends of mine in New York. My phone is blowing up. They are officially depressed and scared.
And this was also a hostile takeover by the Democratic Socialists of America.
And this is a crazy situation. It's a very, very sad night.
Made him the stylish candidate as
exactly.
well.
The rapping video.
The cool kid.
Older people. This isn't just Gen Z or Gen X.
I agree with you.
Boomers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I see this as a disaster for New York City. And
Zoran Mamdani. All right. Well, I want to bring in our panel. They'll cheer me up. They'll cheer all of us up.
It's okay. Be cheered up. But when it comes to actually representing folks in this country, if that makes you upset, I think it's time to have some self-reflection, understand that you're the bad guys. You're against what you've always preached as this, this opportunity of the American dream that you continue to siphon and take away from folks. I've been showing the angry stuff. I've been showing the pushbacks. I've been showing the cussing outs and everything, but I want to make sure we don't get too far from the guy who just won this race and more of his great speech after he won.
For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery bike handlebars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life. But let tonight be the final time I utter his name.
Let us never say his name again. It's like, Bloody Mary or something in the mirror. Don't say his name 3 times in a row. He might pop back up over your shoulder. A great speech, again, saying the things that the people there, specifically of New York, need to hear, but toppling that political dynasty, which I didn't even really see it that way, but now I can see after we've been dealing with this for a decade now, it's tiring, and it's going to not be over really soon, but at least maybe they can cut out some of the tentacles of this extreme monster that's running around destroying our country. And I love that he's saying it in the terms that it needs to be said in. I've been wondering what Donald Trump has been thinking and saying about this. I mean, he's got to have some kind of reset or a thought, but he definitely never really takes responsibility for it. So just to wrap up the Mamdani part, there were a few people. I want to give you guys another quick little mashup because this was the reaction. And understand, this is the anger based off of a guy who says he wants to represent the people of the city, make sure that they're no longer poverty-stricken, are no longer struggling, are no longer trying to find some way to literally survive. That's what we're talking about, and that sparks this kind of anger.
So to the extent that tonight is a referendum on President Trump at all, guess what? It means that he's one of one. You can get his endorsement, and this is a clarion call for 2026, folks. You can have President Trump's endorsement. It doesn't mean you're going to win. You have to do what he did. You have to go and dip into these unfamiliar to Republican constituencies. You've got to be very specific and granular and show up every single moment. One quick point about Virginia. Spanberger's margin of victory is so large, Sean, that she brought over that Jay Jones character to be the chief law enforcement officer of Virginia. He barely won. He won by far smaller margin than she did. She dragged him over, and now he should be a drag on her because, my goodness, we've got a socialist, anti-Semite, pro-Hamas guy as mayor of New York and the chief law enforcement officer in Virginia in the age of political assassination attempts and successful attempts. We have a man who has threatened the lives of other people. I think that is that's one of the biggest stories of the night to me. And I also think that Republicans got to do what they did in 2024 with President Trump, get that vote out early, swamp the vote. Look, for me, early voting is 7 a.m. on Election Day, but early vote is a real thing now. And we have to step it up and participate the same way the Democrats do.
She can't believe it, can't understand it, doesn't really, can't grasp how devastating this is. Well, if they just sit back and allow, the citizens of the city to go ahead and thrive, what they'll understand is they don't get to continue to just absorb everything like the leeches that they are. I mean, you'll whine and cry and scream, but there's a mandate now. You see all those ass kickings that happened all over the country. We're going to get to some more details of them soon. It angers them, but they don't want to hear the word mandate. And I did see someone correct me. What I missed as far as that political dynasty is, of course, the Cuomos of New York. Apologies, maybe he wasn't talking about Donald Trump, but the Cuomo and their dynasty of all of their family members running through and controlling New York. That appears to be over, as we don't mention that guy's name 3 times straight. Make sure you don't do it. He might pop up behind you. That'd be scary. So as I talked about, there's more wins than just what happened with Zohran Mamdani. I mean, it was bad all over the place. Listen to how Brett Baier on Fox News talks about the things that happened and how bad it was for Republicans. Yes, we know many of them are upset, but this is the analysis. Think of the wordings that he uses here as he's talking. I believe it was Fox and Friends this morning.
A big loss. You can say that these states were traditionally blue, but you can also say that heading in, there was some thought that, especially in New Jersey, that Ciattarelli would do better. The spreads here are surprising. Maybe not the results, but the spreads. And if you look inside the numbers, there are some dangerous things. One, young women overwhelmingly in New Jersey and Virginia supported the Democrat based on economy, on immigration, maybe those ICE images, the affordability push by Mamdani really sticks. And that's basically inflation and how people feel about the economy. So this dichotomy between how Wall Street's doing and how big business is doing and how you feel about it at home is something Republicans really have to look at closely. But look at this spread in Virginia. It's massive.
Brett Baier talked about the beatings that went down last night with Democrats winning all over the country. And did you hear that wording that he had there? He said, these are some of the dangers of what we saw last night. Dangers that young women supported Mamdani. Maybe it's because of those ICE images. In other words, ICE attacking and kidnapping people off the streets and assaulting American citizens as well in the process. Affordability, inflation, how they feel about the economy. We're always talking about Wall Street and Wall Street and Wall Street, and now how they feel at home. It's how they're doing at home. The level of detachment from regular people is on full display. If they ever want to know what it is that's happened and the reasons why they lost last night, they should probably pay attention to how they're still talking about the folks that came out and made their voices heard. It's a danger that young women supported him because of, rights. That during Republicans' campaigns, all they talked about was taking away people's rights, specifically women, minorities, and people like that, as folks who are leeching off the system or don't deserve it or too stupid to really have the positions that they have. But they can't figure out why it's so dangerous now, as people literally are being killed. But the danger now comes from folks that are making their voices heard. Just pay attention. Here's more of Brett Baier.
Do you think that the young people, especially in the Mamdani race, which is fascinating to me, do you think that they were that they liked his solutions that he was putting forward, or he was the only one who was actually talking about it?
They turned out in droves. Young people
they did.
I mean, in big numbers. 18 to 39 came out for Mamdani big. I think Cuomo started to close at the end because he was saying, here's the fearful things, here are the things you have to be worried about. But he was such a bad candidate at the beginning, it seemed like it was too late.
More revelations. He believes Andrew Cuomo was doing well at the end because he started scaring people, because he came with the fear tactics. He came out to talk about things you should be afraid of. No message for what you're going to get, no message for things that will make your life better, but how you should be afraid. But he started off as a really bad candidate because he wasn't trying to scare people. I'd probably disagree with that. Whole time he's probably trying to scare people, especially about that Muslim that I'm running against. He's so scary. So it really gives you a window into the way these folks think that elections should be run and how you should convince people to come out and vote for you. Scare them with empty scare tactics. Here's one more from Brett Baer. He was talking to Brian Kilmeade here. Pay attention. Listen to the way Kilmeade asks this question.
What about the two things? What about the Hispanic vote, and
Yes.
and what about the Hispanic vote as well as the female vote going to Democrats without abortion really being front and center? For the longest time, people thought, well, that was the reason. Republicans are vulnerable because the pro-life movement, perhaps women were rallying against that, but that wasn't an issue.
No, it really seems like it's economy. It really seems like it's how they
Groceries.
feel, grocery shopping, how affordability. There is some other, there's a Trump factor here. He is right to say he was not on the ballot. And when he's not, it doesn't produce the same emotion, but it does produce emotion on the other side.
Isn't it odd? If you ask a question the way that Kilmeade just asked it about how so many women turned out, by the way, overwhelmingly younger folks and including women in general turned out all over the country for these elections. That's why the blowout happened. It's why also traditionally and historically Republicans don't want people to vote, because the more people vote, the more they get their asses whooped because they don't have as popular ideas or positions as anyone else. But Kilmeade tried to figure out, abortion wasn't even on the ballot. Why are women out voting? What do they care about? Do they have like wallets or something? Or did their man give them a bank account? Because I'm trying to figure out why they care about the economy suddenly. I thought all they cared about was abortions. And if women care about abortions, and that's the thing that's going to get you to get beat, when abortion types of legislation is on the ballot, why don't you care about their positions? They're still tax-paying Americans with positions and lives that you do not experience. But the mindset is it's just abortions they care about, number one. And number two, when they do, who cares? Who cares? That's denying someone their representation. But Kilmeade doesn't get that. Kilmeade's just like, don't they all want to have abortions, man? Or aren't they all just trying to be crazy and have abortions? What an idiot this guy is. He's the same guy who talked about how we should be killing unhoused people before then a homeless encampment was attacked. I want to keep reminding you guys about that. But like I said, I looked for it. I found it right before I came on here. Donald Trump did talk about what it is that happened, why they got beat last night. This was interesting. Very unsurprising, though.
Exactly 1 year ago, we had that big, beautiful victory. Exactly. Last night, it was, not expected to be a victory. It was very Democrat areas, but I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody. But we had an interesting evening, and we learned a lot. And we're going to talk about that, and I'll say a few remarks, and then after that, I'll ask the press to leave. I thought we'd have a discussion after the press leaves about what last night represented and what we should do about it, and also about the shutdown, how that relates to last night. I think if you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans. And that was a big factor. And they say that I wasn't on the ballot was the biggest factor. But I don't know about that, but I was honored that they said that. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. And a very special thanks to Vice President J.D. Vance, who's doing a terrific job.
Donald Trump pointed out the two main reasons why Republicans lost last night. He said that's according to polls. I was flattered that people said that it was because Trump wasn't on the ballot, that people said Trump wasn't on the ballot, and also that it's because of that shutdown. What about that government shutdown? Would that mean like because the government shutdown that the Republicans are stonewalling on and not even negotiating and talking about the things that the majority of American people want from this in order for that government to open back up to continue to screw us the way that they have been for the past 10 months? So if those are the issues, maybe you should dig into why that government shutdown is an issue for you. But the other part he said was that Trump wasn't on the ballot. He's really appreciative of people that said that. those people that said it like, Donald Trump. He posted this quote: Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the two reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight, according to pollsters. He's really appreciative that those pollsters, aka Donald Trump, said that Trump wasn't on the ballot, and that shutdown that Trump is all a part of orchestrating and telling Mike Johnson to continue to keep going. The reasons as to why they got their asses whooped all over the country last night. It was that stuff. Forget the fact that same guy who was not on the ballot, as he pointed out, went on multiple tirades yesterday before that election because he saw things going down. As a matter of fact, before and after and during, here's a couple of these things. I read this one yesterday at the bottom. Any Jewish person that votes for Zoran Mamdani, a proven and self-professed Jew hater, is a stupid person. He also went up, the next one up in the middle. If affordability is your issue, vote Republican. Energy costs, as an example, are plummeting, getting close to $2 a gallon gasoline. When energy goes down, everything else follows, and it has. President DJT. And at the top, he says, terminate the filibuster. Maybe Trump wasn't on the ballot last night, but Trump's name was all over the place in talking about it. Trump was endorsing Andrew Cuomo. Trump was having a bunch of press conferences talking about how he wants things to go a certain way, and he was definitely all over Truth Social screaming about what it is that he wants done. But the news got worse for Donald Trump. Did you guys know these two guys won?
We have a lot to talk about throughout the night right here on the Fox News channel, but we can now make a call. The Fox News decision desk can now project that Democrat Jay Jones will become Virginia's next attorney general, defeating the Republican incumbent, Jason Miyares.
And finally, we are projecting that Alvin Bragg has won re-election as the district attorney of Manhattan.
That really sucks. Jay Jones is the guy who they went to some message that he had about how folks will feel the pressure more if they saving folks' lives if they have felt these types of devastating things themselves with deaths of family members and children. So that was a big hang up in his campaign, and he still won, which is why Sean Hannity there was like, Jay Jones? Bro, I thought you already knew. They're running you the graphic. You're still surprised? But Alvin Bragg, we all know Alvin Bragg. There was Letitia James, multiple people who prosecuted Donald Trump. Alvin Bragg's the one who got the 34 felony convictions on him for his falsifying of business records, for his hush money case. That was Alvin Bragg. So folks that run against Alvin Bragg were running on it based off of saying Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, went after Donald Trump, Donald Trump, went after Donald Trump. The problem with saying all that probably was that people were like, oh, he's the one who went after Donald Trump. That's my guy. That's my guy. That's who we want to see win. It kind of sucks. We also had, I want to run through all these. Governor of Virginia. There's a Virginia governor race also last night. Didn't get as much attention as others. I'm sure it did in Virginia, but I'm just saying there was the bigger names that were floating around. We do want to point out how Abigail Spanberger, who had to answer questions about Jay Jones, and they thought that would also drag her down. She won too.
My fellow Virginians, tonight we sent a message. We sent a message to every corner of the Commonwealth. A message to our neighbors and our fellow Americans across the country. We sent a message to the whole world that in 2025, Virginia chose pragmatism over partisanship. We chose our Commonwealth over chaos. You all chose leadership that will focus relentlessly on what matters most: lowering costs, keeping our communities safe, and strengthening our economy for every Virginian.
Are we noticing the similarities in the approaches here? Lowering costs, actually representing more people, giving people their rights back. It's almost like humans who live their lives respond to those types of things. And Abigail Spansberger isn't even as, fiery of a speech giver as someone like Zohran Mamdani, but the messages are very similar. And that's what speaks to people. It's the fact. It's what it is that really works. Hey, here's Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey. Did you guys know about this one too? I'm sure you did.
So thank you to everyone who's joined me in fighting for a better future. I know these are tough times. I know not everyone voted for me, but I'm working for everyone. Every single one of you. When we all do better, we all do better. So tomorrow begins a new day. And at each new day in New Jersey, the sun rises over the Statue of Liberty, a daily reminder of her promise. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. She declares that her lamp lights the path to the golden door. That golden door is New Jersey.
So right next door to New York City, where Mamdani wins, there's Mikey Sherrill also winning governor of New Jersey. There's going to be a lot of coping going on, a lot of trying to figure out how to navigate this from folks who didn't see it coming, even though they're going to act like, yo, we saw it coming. It was all good. This is just general standard behavior from these blue states, even though they said Donald Trump swept everything and totally has a complete mandate over destroying everyone's lives. Hey, here's Jesse Waters trying that.
On the table with you.
Thanks for having me.
The Democrats are going to spin this. This is a referendum on Trump. I mean, these are all blue states, is it?
They're trying to spin it as a referendum on Trump. Trump, who hasn't stopped talking about how he runs this whole country. He does anything that he wants. Matter of fact, if someone wins like Mamdani in the state of New York, that he's going to withhold funds. It has to be a referendum on Trump. Trump is everything. Jesse Waters thinks Trump is everything. Jesse Waters calls Trump his daddy. So I feel like your daddy should be something that's a referendum on this country, since he says he gets to do anything he wants in that country. It's okay. It's okay to have some self-reflection and try to figure out what it is that you did and the things that you said and the way that you've been governing, if you can call it governing, that helped destroy people's lives where they've had enough of it. Vivek Ramaswamy put his face in it, but he did admit that it was all them. It's just his reasoning is the funny part about this admission.
We got our asses handed to us in New Jersey, Virginia, and New York City. Democrats swept all three. There's two key lessons for Republicans. Listen carefully. Number one, our side needs to focus on affordability. Make the American dream affordable. Bring down costs, electric costs, grocery costs, healthcare costs, and housing costs, and lay out how we're going to do it. And number two, cut out the identity politics. It doesn't suit Republicans. It's not for us. That's the woke left's game, not ours. We don't care about the color of your skin or your religion. We care about the content of your character. That's who we are. We got our.
So there's Vivek Ramaswamy, I guess, giving his cold, hard facts about why they got their ass kicked, which he said they got their ass kicked. So cool. I hear you. Except it has all this to do with still trying to bash the folks that are trying to represent Americans. We don't do identity politics. Maybe you should reflect and see when you were into all that identity politics that you said you just started in. You know, the white supremacy of those identity politics that they've taken part in, where they say they're better than other folks and other folks don't deserve opportunities, a chance to live, none of it. Maybe that's what it is. Or in all the populist talk that he was going through, all those messages are things that they said during the campaign. All those messages are what the current president said he was going to take care of. And then the main part, which I'm not sure if he really took in, even though he said it, You say all those things and then give a plan of how you're going to do it. So if you're going to give a plan of how you're going to do all this populism that you said you're going to do, maybe you should consult with Mike Johnson and ask him. Maybe you should stop lying on TV every day. Maybe you should stop going in front of cameras and standing behind podiums and saying that you have healthcare plans before you don't have a healthcare plan, when you have no interest in having a healthcare plan. So in order to have these plans laid out that you said you have to have for this populist plan, maybe you should start thinking of them rather than ways to divide and say that you're better than someone else who participates in identity politics. Fake tough talk doesn't work. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. I have a different I have a different type of I guess declaration of what it is that these Republicans had an issue with last night. Donald Trump said it best.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
I think that's actually the prescription for what it is that happened last night. You just don't know. I'm motoring, you guys. I got so much happening. I'm motoring. Hey, here's another aspect of what happened yesterday. You guys know I've been talking East Coast. I've been on New York. I've been in Jersey. I've been talking about Virginia. Yo, all over the place. And what it is that happened yesterday. But how about my good old home state of California? You guys hear what happened there?
California, we did it. We passed Prop 50. Thank you to each of you who voted to fight back, to resist, to lead. In California, we proved that cheating and bullying have met their match. And when we win with the people. Now we have work to do. We have members of Congress to elect. We have families to stand up for who are trying to survive the Trump government shutdown. We have a state and a country to rebuild. So California, let's get to work. California.
Prop 50 passes in California. That was the proposition put forward and promoted by Gavin Newsom to even out that whole thing where all these multiple red states are trying to push out every Democratic representative and senator that they can with their redistricting maps and acting like it was something that they're responding to. So this is actually the response. So it allows, then I believe they're thinking up to 5 more Democratic seats could be taken to try and even out what it is that they did in Texas. One downside is that they're trying to do it in like 5, 6, 7, 8 states for Republicans because, you know, they know that they suck and they have no other answers. Here's another guy that they all hate that, you know, he has his issues too. Talking about those victories with Prop 50.
He said this election was rigged, and he's moving to look for criminal prosecution and investigations at the Department of Justice. He is not screwing around. So tonight, I'm proud, but I'm very mindful and sober of the moment we are living in. Donald Trump does not believe in fair and free elections, period and full stop. This is not complicated. And it's self-evident to anyone paying attention. He said this.
Like I said, Gavin Newsom has his issues. I just like those moments when, as we're seeing this and we're celebrating this win of Prop 50, going back to the reasons why. You have to keep talking about where this is coming from and not just turn this into we have to do this in this state so that we can try and get more seats because we have to maneuver a way around actually representing folks. This is in response to folks who don't want to represent their constituents. So I'm glad he put it that way again. And as he launches, you know, everyone's pointing out next, his presidential campaign, that might be a little rockier than I think he's assuming. But still, I'll take him when he says the good things. Hey, here's someone else. I just want to play the folks that they're really upset about celebrating this in California.
Are we gonna do this? We gonna win? Do we know how to fight? Do we stand for our democracy? Do we stand for what is right? Do we believe in the power of the people? All right, then. It is about reminding folks that we refuse to kneel at the foot of a tyrant. That's not what we do. We stand for the principles upon which our nation was founded. We believe in the Constitution of the United States. We believe in the power of the vote. And we are prepared, when necessary, to fight fire with fire.
California is taking a stand to say we understand the difference between right and wrong, and we will step up when necessary to make sure the voices of the people are heard. Let's get this done. I dropped my ballot already. Let's get this done, and we will win on Tuesday.
More from, national political folks for the Democratic Party that I think are finally seeing the things shift. So Kamala Harris still rousing up the crowds, still getting them out, voting for the right things there. It just seems now the time has moved to newer folks. I mean, that's me hoping. I'm looking at hopefully one of those newer folks right now. And no, it doesn't have to be running for president. That's always the first thing that people have when they think of politics and what is for this new wave of people. Even asking Zoran Mamdani questions like, are you the future of the party? Who knows? Why does that to be one person that's the future of this party? Why isn't it just like it should be? A bunch of folks that represent even more people that vote them in, that all say and do the right things for those constituents. And for the folks who don't see it the right way, the ones that actually represent them, explain to them how this representation will work and benefit their lives, those are the right types of people. Hey, here's another one of those folks. She wasn't in any races last night, but she was talking about something that hits near and dear to something I've been railing on for weeks, if not months now. Here's AOC.
Here's some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
So I'm just saying, I've been on that for a while now. But I mean, apparently AOC is pointing out that Marjorie Taylor Greene and all this populism that she's talking, just enough of a percentage of populism to fool people who aren't paying really close attention to what she's saying, who's she's saying it to, and how ironclad these actions that she has none of after her words really haven't been. It's a revenge tour because she wanted more power. I wish I could bring up the video when I said it months ago. But I mean, I'm not saying I'm the only person. I know it's widespread. Everyone knows not to trust Marjorie Taylor Greene. But I want to give you guys an example of what she just did. I think it was a day or two ago. It could have been on Monday. When she went on The View to hang out with The View. This is another one of those moves where Marjorie Taylor Greene jumped on the panel and listened to the question that she's asked and if she answers it.
Because, free speech is everything. Mm-hmm. And it feels like it's harder to do and to have in this country. Do you think it's a good idea for the military to be marching into our cities and towns right now because maybe people don't like the speech that they're hearing? How do we combat that and get back to going after the people who really are the problems?
Well, on free speech, I want to say that I think that all of us right here are doing a great job of exchanging our ideas and things that we believe in, and we're doing it in a very professional and kind way. And in my opinion, I think we need more of that in America. I really do. And a lot of people wanted me to come on the show and say nasty things and all of us to fight. They wanted all of us to fight.
Thank you for not doing that.
Oh my goodness, no. I didn't want to
around
that.
It's like 5-1.
She could handle it, but she didn't want to. Handle it. But no, I didn't want to do that today because I believe that people with powerful voices like myself and like you, and especially women to women, we need to pave a new path. This country, our beautiful country, our red, white, and blue flag is just being ripped to shreds. And I think it takes women of maturity to sew it back together. And I think that happens through free speech.
The question was, do you think it's a good idea to have for the military to march into our cities and towns? And how do we combat that and actually go after the people that are the real problem? And Marjorie Taylor Greene launched into this kumbaya episode of talking about free speech, exchanging of ideas. And I'm glad that we're not arguing on the panel here. People told me I should come and be nasty to you guys, and I'm not nasty. Did you answer the question? Or are you still in favor of Donald Trump's military takeover of our cities and towns? Are you still in favor as you see people getting assaulted by ICE agents? I'm sorry, Proud Boys. I'm sorry, Klans members in the streets with masks on their faces, targeting people based off of their religion, based off of their skin color, based off of what language they think they're speaking, even their damn accents. Are you okay with that, bro? Because I ain't heard no answer yet. All I heard was some more bullshit. So it's been pretty obvious from the beginning that AOC didn't have to say it, but I'm glad she said it. We already know this is an opportunity time. We already knew that Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted more power. And she's like, this is my way around it. Let me play the game now and fool enough gullible people into thinking that I'm someone that I never was. She still hates minorities. She still hates other folks that she thinks are beneath her. And she's okay with Donald Trump's assault on regular people. She just is. Let me go back to someone that's speaking truth. Hey, I started with AOC spilling the beans on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here she is on election night. Listen, man, like we said before, there can be multiple leaders of this party. We talked about Zoran Mamdani, who said great things in New York. How about we listen to what AOC was saying about where this party should be going?
I have to tell you, as I was out at polling locations today, as much as Democrats were talking about Trump, they were also angry with the Democratic establishment, and they were calling people out like Chuck Schumer, Hillary Clinton, who they felt at points, in their view, disrespected Zoran Mamdani during this campaign, that they should have shown him more support, that they had heard these Democrats say vote blue no matter who in the past, that didn't seem to apply at this point. Do you think after what we're seeing tonight, there will be more unity in the Democratic Party? Are things going to change?
Well, you know, I think it speaks to the absolutely heroic effort that not just Zohran Mamdani put together, but so many people who participated and were brought together by his campaign. Because they were not just tasked with defeating a Republican. They were also tasked with defeating the old guard of the Democratic Party that essentially led us to many of the perils of this moment. So he had a two-front war to win, which is what makes his victory so deeply impressive. And I do think that this moment, a lot of people who are willing to talk about party unity when it serves them, but not party unity when it serves everybody, it puts those folks on notice. And I think it also puts folks on notice that we have a future to plan for. We have a future to fight for. And we're either going to do that together or you're going to be left behind. And I think that is not a partisan issue. It's not about progressive. It's not moderate. It's not liberal. This is about, do you understand the assignment of fighting fascism right now? And the assignment is to come together across difference no matter what.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
The assignment is to fight this fascism, or you're going to be left the fuck behind. There's nothing wrong with that message. This is the message that Mike Johnson and people like him are trying to scare people like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer into listening to. Mike Johnson enjoys weak leadership of the Democratic Party. Mike Johnson enjoys people who are too afraid to respond when they give them empty threats. So when they toss a couple empty threats at Democrats and they go, oh my God, I might piss off too many people. I better not stand by my principles. That's what they've been enjoying in their opposition. They're afraid of people like Zoran Mamdani. They're afraid of people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They're afraid of Ilhan Omar. They're afraid of the folks who are willing to speak up. And they're trying to, if they can't get rid of them through all of this redistricting and the hate campaigns that they're pushing, they're definitely trying to scare Democratic old ass leadership into going, oh my God, we have to oppose them. And it worked on people like Hakeem Jeffries, who was still too afraid to endorse Mamdani because they listened to that establishment. Rich establishment folks transcend political parties. They're on both sides of the aisle. I know it's been said a million times, but when you get a new crop of people coming up and saying the real things about the folks that they should be representing, like AOC has done right there, unapologetically, similar to what Mamdani said, he's no longer going to be apologetic about who he is and what it is that we stand for. We're not doing that anymore. Matter of fact, I want to listen to more of her putting these folks on blast. Because as she pointed out, he had to defeat more than just Donald Trump. Here it comes.
He had to not just defeat a Republican, he had to defeat a Republican and the old guard of the Democratic Party at the same time. He was fighting a war on two fronts and not just one. And he still won resoundingly. And I think the message that sends is that the Democratic Party cannot last much longer by denying the future, by trying to undercut our young, by trying to undercut a next generation of diverse and upcoming Democrats that have the parties, the actual party, the actual electorate and voter support.
The actual party. There's nothing wrong with saying it. We always hear Republicans talk about how they're cutting people out of the party and stuff, and this is the way things to go. It's helpful when you have the truth on your side and you say things like, this is the direction we're going. We've got proof, we've got evidence, we've got the way that things work, where we've always done in the past and how they destroy people's lives. Why can't we try a different direction? Spinning in this same circle gets us the exact same results. Hey, I got more from AOC. I enjoy hearing her speak on this type of stuff because it's so new. It's kind of been stuff that we've been saying for a while, but I'm glad it's finally becoming mainstreamed.
Had these victories, I mean, is there room in the Democratic Party for both moderates like Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger and also a Zohran Mamdani?
Well, I think it's not just a message about Democrats. It's a message about our entire country. I think that Americans are appalled by what they are seeing coming out of this administration. They are appalled by the cowardice of Congress, by these Republican majorities in the House and in the Senate. I think that they see Donald Trump now for who he is, which is a handmaiden to billionaires and a handmaiden to corporate interests that are making working class life impossible in America. And I think that they want to send fighters in every single pocket of this country to fight for working people, to make life affordable and safe for all.
And we're done being afraid of Donald Trump. The handmaiden to billionaires and people who are looking to ruin regular folks' lives. That's what he is. He's not powerful. He's fake. He's empty. He's got these threats and promises that never turn out. All you have to do is look at the reality. They've given him enough chances. The guy doesn't want to do it. It's about time that these scary leaders that are head of this Democratic Party step aside or stop being afraid. But the problem is they're too set in their ways. It's okay, bro. You had a great run. You made lots of money. You even have a legacy that you can say is great. That is outside of the folks who got rid of your asses. It's time for them to step aside. It's just time. Everybody retires. They say it in sports all the time. Father Time is undefeated. We're talking about sports. You guys know who Doc Rivers is? I know, I'm not sure how many sports folks watch the stream, but Doc Rivers is head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks currently. Multiple head coaches, played in the NBA as well. No, it's not a sports story. And for some reason, he had to preface what he said about SNAP benefits. He had to preface it by saying he's not getting too political here. Well, damn it, political is our life. It affects everything. Here's Doc Rivers after a game.
Hey, I don't want to get political, but I am. This one is not political. It's the SNAP programs around the country, and especially in Wisconsin, because that's where I'm at right now, are going to get delayed. And this is for Republicans and Democrats. We're talking about kids not getting food. and that should never happen. I don't want to hear about people are cheating the program and all that crap. A 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid is cheating nothing, and we are going to cheat the kids if we don't take care of this. And our Republicans and Democratic senators and the government have not done their jobs. And so the problem is the kids have to pay, and that's ridiculous, right? I think everyone, there's food banks, there's all kinds of places we can donate money. We should. I can tell you that. I'm telling my players to, I'm asking everyone to, and this should not be a political thing. This should not be about being a Republican or a Democrat right now. This is about our kids. And finally on that, truancy and hunger are the two biggest issues for kids learning in school. Literally, they have proven that a kid can be in the worst area in the world, literally the worst area. But if he can just get to school and eat, he can learn. And so we have to make sure that we feed our kids, and we can drop all the other stuff, figure it out all later, but we got to feed our kids. So this, I hope, you guys get out there and pass that message on. All right. Thank you.
Just normalcy speaking to humans about humanity. There can't be too many people that disagree with Doc Rivers. Aren't say shut up and dribble and all the stupid shit that they always say to athletes and coaches and people in the sporting world that have something to say about their society as well. But there's a couple few that came out and they get shut down immediately because there's no conversation that you can disagree with on feeding children. That is, unless your policy is to make sure kids aren't educated nor fed and that they're desperate and hungry, which has been the stance of this Republican Party. That's when it gets political. Once the people in power that have been voted to actually represent folks don't do it, and then they, in the name of their party, say we don't do that, that's you admitting that you're not about this. Don't get mad at someone else for pointing it out. And I'm glad Doc Rivers is pointing it out, because sometimes we need to see and hear from folks that we don't expect to see and hear from on these types of issues. Representative Jim McGovern, he's a Democrat. He's had his foot on Trump's neck for a while too. Here's him talking about the SNAP benefits, which, by the way, we still haven't seen them move on yet.
Republicans are choosing to go after nutrition assistance. Trump is doing this because he is a bad person. He's a lousy president and an even worse human being. He's weaponizing hunger and trying to rip food away from more than 40 million Americans, including 16 million children, for sadistic political leverage. How dare he? How dare he exploit the pain of hungry Americans? How dare he make working folks choose between health care and food? How dare he starve poor children who go to bed hungry? These people are sick in the head. They take food away from poor folks on Friday, and then they go to church on Sunday and proclaim to be good Christians.
Just a little bit of truth being spoken, that's all. Representative McGovern talking about the hypocrisy surrounding these stances. They make these stances, all you have to do is highlight them. Just take your highlighter out and say it again what they just said, because they say horrific things about people that they're supposed to represent, people that they feel they're supposed to rely on for their votes later, and call them trash, and we're not supposed to respond. Hey, here's some of the results and the reasons why McGovern called Donald Trump a lousy president and a rotten human being. Here's some quotes from folks who rely on SNAP benefits. I am housebound because I need a couple of spinal cord surgeries. So this is really going to hurt me because I can't work and thereby earn money to put food on the table. That's what Taras Stratilak said. She's a retiree in Southern California. And that was referencing a refrain of Trump and the GOP as they have downsized federal aid programs. She wrote this: I guess I'm lazy, or maybe I'm waste, fraud, and abuse. Here's another person, Wisconsin resident Betty Standridge. She's 56 years old. Said that she's been hospitalized for a month and was relying on SNAP to afford pricier groceries that she now would have to go without. Here's her quote: losing my SNAP benefits means I will not be able to replenish my food for the month. Therefore, I will do without things like fresh produce, milk, and eggs, is what she pointed out. Here's more. I mean, since those folks are lazy for having spinal issues and being in the hospital for a month. Here's Donna Lynn. She's a disabled veteran. How about this? In Missouri, she said this cutoff of benefits would force her into making some tough decisions. Here's some of those tough decisions for this veteran of the United States. As we always say, we support the troops. It comes down to paying for my medications and my bills, or buying food for myself and for my animals. So I pay for my medications and bills and get what food I can for my animals. And if I have money left over, then I'll eat. This is how the government treats their veterans. It's very sad, she said. Also, Zachariah Kushner, a disabled 36-year-old living in Charleston, West Virginia, said, put these consequences of a benefit cut succinctly. They say, I won't be able to buy food. What do you expect? We don't always put the personal stories and accounts behind all of these discussions about SNAP benefits, as Donald Trump talks about the things that people don't deserve, all the waste, all the fraud and abuse that forget there's humans attached to those terms. They just think enough people will listen to them because they said so. And let me leave you guys with this last video. The Democrats posted this. House Democrats posted this. This guy's name is James. He's also a veteran. And it's not just SNAP benefits. As we saw when Elon Musk and Donald Trump came into office and threw a couple of Nazi salute signals at us, they're also attacking veterans mercilessly. Here's his story.
Can't keep up with all the money that this administration is wasting. Not a dime for the American people. I'm a veteran. Like I said earlier, I served my country in Desert Storm, Desert Shield. I've accessed the VA. I suffer from ailments from that conflict. I rely on the VA for my health care. I use the VA for everything, my vision care, my dental care, my primary care. I love the VA. I really do. VA health care is not a handout. Veterans earned that care, especially veterans that served in open conflict that suffers from their ailments by fighting for this country. But every week this shutdown drags on, the promise gets weaker. Clinics are short-staffed. They're even getting more short-staffed due to the VA cuts. Doctors and nurses are leaving. Claims are delayed. And then this administration is talking about cutting another 30,000 positions from the VA. That's unacceptable. That's not making the promise to these veterans that this country made to them. But it seems like this administration can find money for other things, as the leader mentioned earlier. $40 billion to Argentina, $200 million for a ballroom, $400 billion, I think, for the jet from Qatar. I mean, I can't keep up with all the money that this administration is wasting. Not a dime for the American people.
It's just clear. If you keep following these guys and they're trying to figure out why they lost across the country yesterday, it's because they keep offending and victimizing the folks that they always said they're in support of. Matter of fact, they're direct voters with the red hats on. They're screwing them over too. It's right in front of you. The only decision most people have to make is stop it. Stop following them. Stop believing them. Listen to what they say and try and decide, do I want to be a pawn in their system of destroying my life and stealing my resources? Because that's all it is. I think it's beginning to change. I'm a little bit optimistic today. I'm still waiting for results, though. The Mamdani celebrations, we'll wait for the results. And we'll see what fights he's going to have to put up with in doing so, if he goes that direction. And the feet will be held to the fire. People are looking for results. Regular folks. The same way the rich people who paid all them off expect results, regular people are expecting results now. And you shouldn't be ashamed of expecting results for all the money we pay. It's time for things to switch. Just like things should switch over now, you guys head over to TDR. Glad to see you. Like the stream as you head out. Also, these stories will be up on the page later. What a party we've had. Even had a damn energy drink today. Let me know which one I should drink on Friday, because I had to have my Nas today. It had to happen. Glad you guys were here. I appreciate you. Celebrate a little bit more. But hey, as I said, come back looking for some results, because it ain't over. The fight still comes, and we still need representatives that are going to do the right thing by us. Happy Wednesday, though, you guys. Glad you were here. Say hi to John for me. Oh, John's not in today. Who's filling in? Say hi to them for me. See you guys later. Until tomorrow. Bye, Mom.